a longtime coach in this league and a life coach of the highest order. He is John Lucas. Good to see you, Coach Lucas, here. Good to see you, sir.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you here in Houston, Texas.
No, I've been a big fan of yours.
Well, that means a lot. Thank you. Right back to you. Right back to you. So, I guess let's start with what you are doing right here, right now, in this day and age here in Houston,
Well, I
Texas.
just left the gym. We have about 13 guys that are here for the draft, from A.J. Hammonds to Troy Williams to Rasheed Suleiman, Isaiah Taylor, a lot of underclassmen kids that are here. Kid Damian Jones is coming in from Vanderbilt tonight, at Perry Ellis. So we've been doing a lot of that, a lot of development with the year, and then watching the playoffs. And we in Houston just got a new coach.
Yeah, Mike D'Antoni named yesterday.
Mike and I grew up together. Know Mike, and congratulations to him. I think he'll be a good fit for us.
Do you think so? I guess a lot of folks are wondering, in a way, how James Harden and he might fit together and what could be done with Harden here.
Basketball is all about chemistry. I remember when I took over for Jerry Tarkanian in San Antonio. It's about getting chemistry, pulling the analytical part together, and meshing the two in. And I think Mike can do that. He's got enough European influence. One of the things that's really helped our team, the team here, is we have a European influx. So to be able to communicate, dialogue, and that would be very important. And then the key to, I think, to this team is the development outside of Harden, to continue to develop their other players and utilize what they do best.
Do you think Harden is a guy that can play well with others and others can play well with him? Because the MO for Harden now, all of a sudden.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Coach.
I think you're really good at what you do.
Thank you, sir.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
How well do you play with others when it's not going right?
Well, I've got two other guys.
No,
go ahead. No, go ahead and answer. What do you think? Do I mesh well with the rest of the group
when it's not going right?
When it's not going right?
You're a good teammate. We had some technical issues in that first segment.
Yeah.
You kept it composed.
Okay.
You did well.
Let me answer this too, John. If Deion Sanders or Marshall Faulk or Steve Mariucci were here right now, my colleagues from the NFL Network, on occasion, if you've seen those Snickers commercials where you take a bite of Snickers and you become yourself again, they would always hand me a Snickers sometimes when things were going. So I hear what you're saying.
What my point is, I don't know any great players that weren't. So people say.
So there's a
certain. I know Michael always says, he said, we won. Ain't no, he said, I know that we the team won, but I won. And, for him, Larry Bird, those guys are assassins. Those guys will do anything to win. I think James wants to win. I think what happens with organizations is that in the NBA, from the age of 27 to 32, 33, 34, that's that window to get it done if you have a superstar. Now, normally you have to have three great pieces to win a championship. It hadn't changed. Now, they've added the analytical piece, all that. You still got to have it. You look at the Warriors. That's a team full of draft picks, lottery picks. And they've been very lucky. They had already almost traded away Iguodala. They didn't know Steph was going to be Steph Curry. They didn't know that Klay Thompson. So, it has worked out. And then the steal of the deal was Draymond Green.
Yeah. And look at what Draymond Green has blossomed into. I'm here with John Lucas here in studio and our show in Houston, Texas. And then you've got, obviously, the three guys in Cleveland, two of whom were not healthy at this point last year, with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, with LeBron going into the action tonight.
You're talking about something that I think the best, and I had LeBron when he was young. I got suspended for that guy. Still owes me about $250,000 that I can't seem to get. When we bring up compensation, he catches amnesia. But you're getting ready to see a guy in this series that's going to let you all remember who he is. I think he thinks people has forgotten who he is. It's going to be Godzilla against the Panzer.
With LeBron.
Yeah.
He does have a chip.
I think
he's got a chip.
I think people think that he may not be the face of this league
Yes.
anymore.
Now, I am duty bound. What do you mean he owes you $250,000?
I got suspended for him having him in my gym when I coached the Cavaliers. They suspended me for 2 games. Cost me that amount of money. And Cleveland got him. I got fired.
Mm-hmm.
They moved on. And I'm sitting here talking to you.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that picture?
Well, I
and
guess.
I'm driving around working my butt off. I could have used that money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just teasing.
I know you are.
But in all fairness, I think that, tonight, I think that's going to be a great series. But I think sometimes I put on my Twitter, would you like to have this guy? He averaged 28 points, 7 or 8 assists, or 7 or 8 rebounds for 13 years. How good do you think he is?
Of course. I mean, look, look, LeBron is an all-time great, but he does seem to have all of these haters out there that personally I don't understand. I don't understand it, because why wouldn't you want this guy on your team? And he should be talking about his accomplishments. He was talking about his accomplishments just yesterday, talking about how he could have been a statistic to go the other way growing up, the single mom in the inner city is the way he described it.
I was there. I saw it. I know all of his background, everybody that's around him. He's raised them up, given them all positions. Rich Paul wouldn't be Rich Paul, the agent, without where LeBron is. Maverick, who does a lot of things for him. None of those guys, Gloria, who did a good job, and Nike, of course, has really done a good job. But the one thing that I think that people miss when you say that, nobody likes LeBron dunks with too much force. So the average fan sees that and says, it's just bigger than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Steph Curry shoots threes. And, this is the only generation in my time people haven't got bored of seeing people make threes. But normally people never get bored of seeing a guy dunk. And so, before you go, man, Jerry West just hit another three. And, so they say, look at that dunk Dr. J guy. And you go, oh, my God, run that back. Because of TV, and you see the dunk right away, you see the play right away. And believe me, Steph Curry is Pistol Pete. History just keeps repeating itself.
Well, because of his handle. A lot of people are saying also he is the most dominant non-big man since Iverson. Throwing that out there, too. What would you say about that idea in the NBA right now? That since AI, we've never seen a guy
think about
dominate a
this.
game from the outside.
AI was the leading scorer in the league for years and missed more shots than the second leading scorer took.
Love Iverson.
Yeah.
Love Iverson. I love AI, but did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
Missed more shots
Than someone took.
This guy, Steph Curry, is his humbleness, his seems to have family value. It's the same thing about LeBron. I was telling the guys that I mentor, we've been really blessed that LeBron James hadn't had any incidents or anything where it's gotten him in a lot of trouble, where we've had to talk negative about him.
Yeah.
Neither has Steph Curry.
No.
Neither has Klay Thompson. And in the gym, I probably shouldn't tell y'all this. In the lab, we call it gym, we always talk about everything. So the argument's been, Rich, that Steph Curry is Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Draymond Green is Robin.
Yes.
And Klay Thompson is the butler.
He's Alfred?
The butler.
Well, that makes it all work behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody downplays when you call him the butler.
Sure.
But you could make a case that if you don't have Draymond Green, who handles the ball that creates a mismatch, it could be an issue.
Yeah, half the time.
But now Klay Thompson's development of putting the ball on the floor, and he's carried them. But I just heard on Clutch Points on TV today, coming over on the radio, that Steph Curry is shooting like 70% in clutch situations, and Klay Thompson is shooting like 20%.
Well, I mean, just in terms of living up to
at
the
the
moment.
end
with
of the game.
2
And so
minutes to
those
go,
points-
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now, they struggled when Draymond Green, but the one factor that they can't seem to get is that Curry's buckets come, like in the third quarter run, those buckets come so quick. So you get the analytical part, but the right guys are shooting threes.
Mm-hmm.
Can't just heave up threes and not to have guys to make them. It was the first time, and somebody made this point, and it doesn't hold true, but think about this. Westbrook 1 year college. Durant 1 year college. All of those guys were more 4-year college guys. They had been in bigger games. See, people think AAU games are big games. That's just the next game.
Mm-hmm.
But those college big games prepared you for those pro big games. And these are pro big moments in that when you get under that stress and pressure, it's kind of like life. You can either, like LeBron said, I can either go this way or I can go that way. And I saw just a little tad of separation in the Thunder when the pressure hit in Game 7.
John Lucas here in the Rich Eisen Show studio. Let's take a break. We're back in 60 ticks of the clock. I want to talk with you about some of the players that you have counseled and gotten them on the straight and narrow. And there's one in particular in the NFL that appears to be not wanting to do that. And I want to hit you on Johnny Manziel if we come back here in a minute here with John Lucas in Houston on the Rich Eisen Show.
I don't really get involved into the whole pressure thing. I think I've exceeded expectations in my life as a professional. I'm a statistic that was supposed to go the other way, growing up in inner city, having a single-parent household. It was just me and my mother. So everything that I've done has been a success. As far as the game of basketball, I just go out and play it and have fun and love it and be true to the game and to my teammates and live with the results. So it don't really get to me too much.
So, of course, John Lucas, that who's here in studio, people hear that from LeBron and think he's beating his chest saying everything I've done is a success because those are the haters. He should be proud of what he has accomplished. And as you point out, all the folks in his life who he has brought with him as well.
When he came into our practice facility as a junior.
How old was he?
He was a junior in high school.
Okay. So
he was the best player in
he's,
the gym.
So he's about what, 16?
17.
17. Okay.
He was the best player in the gym. And I did the same thing with Kobe Bryant when I coached the 76ers. I would always bring the best. I would think that since the professional team was the highest level of basketball in the city, I always wanted to embrace the basketball community of each city. So I would get the youngest, better high school player, let him come in. Kobe Bryant, back then we didn't have the rules that we have now. So in 93, 94, Kobe Bryant beat the guy that I drafted that year in one-on-one, 10-2.
Nice.
Who was that?
I'm not telling.
You got the internet.
But listen, the guy says to me, what position is he? I said, he's got 2 more. He's got another year of high school. When LeBron came in the gym, I did the same. I didn't know that they changed the rules and suspended me. But he was the best player. And I had Ricky Davis, Chris Mims, Sagana Job. We were struggling with the kind of team we had. And he just made it all come together at that point. And I've been with Nike for 40 years and recommended Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. And they all have those guys. And I saw LeBron there. Now, let's go back about beating LeBron's chest, about what he's saying. He won 3 state football titles. He's always been the bigger guy in the gym, and he's physically, his presence. So there sets a little difference. If you notice marketing, Rich, nobody markets the 7-footers because people can never get to be 7 feet. People look at LeBron and say, man, I can never be that size, that quick. But you see Steph Curry and Clay, you say, I can be that guy.
Sure.
Which makes them very, very popular. So they talk about Nike missing on Steph Curry. It's just the time. LeBron James is still one of the biggest drawing names out of the best.
But
But whatever he does, he can't win. we won't appreciate. He's almost like Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain never got his greatness because everybody talked about the records because he was just physically dominant.
Mm-hmm.
But he still got 35 NBA rules. I'll never forget Moses and I were in the finals against Dr. Jenner. Moses had 36 rebounds. I said, "Mo, that's got to be a record." Nobody's talking about these 36 rebounds and 33 points. So we went and looked in the record book. He was 14 short. So, it just continues. So until LeBron, when you go back, and I was telling also in the gym, Michael Jordan never missed a game. He didn't believe in resting a game. He came and had to perform for fans 13 years in a row, and most people left entertained. It wasn't like, can you imagine, Michael, we're going to sit out tonight for rest?
Mm-hmm. Well, I got John Lucas here in studio, and you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one more break here.
So I'm trying to avoid you taking me over down that other street.
No,
you're trying to take me down.
Well, I mean, the street is. Well, I think a lot of people are interested in why you do what you do, and the street that I'm talking about.
It's the street of life.
I know it's the street of life, and I want to hit
it's
that.
It's what LeBron said. It's 2 words. No, it's 2 words that people say before they screw up.
And that is?
I'll say it without cussing. Screw it. And what I try to get people to say in life is never say screw it, because whenever you say that, then you're going to go do the wrong thing. Never, I always tell people, I know me when I see me, and every time I screwed up, I said screw it before I screwed up. If I don't say, let me see if I can figure another way to do this. But when I do screw it, I'm going to either go cheat on my wife, I'm going to go do something stupid, that I'm going to have to relive again.
Well, and I appreciate you keeping it safe for work. So we'll take a break, and we'll come back with Coach John Lucas for one more segment. Adrian Wojnarowski will join us from The Vertical in hour number 2, and John McClain will be here in studio hour number 3. Back with John Lucas from Houston in a moment here on The Rich Eisen Show. Welcome back to The Rich Eisen Show. We've got one more segment in studio here in Houston with the great John Lucas. All right, John. When somebody has a player in trouble, many people reach out to you. Has anybody reached out to you for Johnny Manziel?
Well, let me say that like this. You can only help someone who wants to get help. If not, then you need to back away until they're willing to get the help they need. So in that regard, that's how I answer that. So for me, greatness is overrated. But everybody needs a little bit of greatness to see what a fall would be. I've always wanted to wear an NBA uniform. And when I finally got there, I went, now what? Because I reached that goal. And I stopped growing as a person. I stopped growing mentally. And I played in the Forum. I played at the Garden. I played against Walt Frazier. I played against my heroes. Now what? And I stopped growing. So I said, how do I make it fair for everybody else to keep up with me? So I started doing things that got me sidetracked. And for an athlete, we grow up as an adult athlete, but most times we don't grow up as an adult. And then we have to, we live 2 lives. We grow up to about 32 in sports, then we die. Then we have to get born again and find out we're just another person in the world. And that is a unbelievable, humbling experience.
But while trying to give somebody their room, though, John, they can spiral even further down. It's what it seems like what's happening with Johnny.
Nothing you can do.
Because everybody's just wondering,
we've been so insulated with people to help us for so long, people don't know how not to help us. And when they say, well, come stay with me for 2 weeks and come help me, and then I go there, come here for 2 weeks, and I help. So I keep running to people until I run out of places to go.
And then
it's Rich, let me tell you, I'll explain it like this. I'll explain my disease like this. when I can't change my behavior to meet my goals, but I change my goals to meet my behavior, I got a real problem. So now I want to be a pro, and then once I become a pro, I don't want to do the values to stay a pro. And so what happens with an addiction, or you get in trouble with an addiction, all you know is starting over. It's like a hamster on a spinning wheel. I want to get there to show you I can do it again. Get there. Because once you see that I'm responsible, I'm not the center of attention.
So what?
See, like when I go to the funeral, before I got sober, I want to be the preacher. I want to be the guy dead. I want to be giving out the programs. I want to drive the hearse. I didn't know how to just be me.
So when did you finally do that? When can somebody like Johnny Manziel, in the 3 minutes that I have left with you, I know it's such a long subject.
No,
but
it's called the gift of desperation. I'm willing to do whatever you ask me to do. And a lot of times, only people who've been in that kind of pain and that kind of desperation can help somebody to know that pain and desperation.
It's the 21st century now, though, too, John.
It's a life problem.
No, but I understand that. But had you, when you were going through this, had a TMZ and an Instagram and a Twitter that is out there and broadcasting your exploits to the point where you can even take solace that in your actions you're still getting attention, that keeps the cycle going, or
keeps
not?
The cycle going. And then the thing is that in so many states, some of the things that I do that cause me trouble are legal. Like marijuana is legal in some states. Alcohol is legal. But the problem isn't that. It's my living skills that I can't accept life on life's terms. I told you about dying to death of not being a ball player anymore. Have you ever talked to a ball player that says, back in the old days, it was better?
All the time.
Every time. It's better now. They got better equipment, better stuff. It's better now, but none of us will ever admit to that. We'd have beat that team 10 times. Now, it's the same way about an addiction.
John Lucas, I got 1 more minute left with you then. So to sum up, when you hear people say that if Johnny doesn't get help, he's going to die, what do you do with such information?
My answer to that is I hope that he doesn't die, because if he ever figures out that it's okay to be Johnny Manziel, he'll be the best Johnny Manziel he's ever been. And he'll find out his self-worth isn't tied up in the football. His self-worth isn't tied up into his number. I had a guy, I'll let you all figure out, y'all are stat freaks. I had a guy named number 72 with the Washington Redskins. Mm-hmm. One of the first guys that were, I used to call him 72, 72. And his biggest issue with that was he wanted to be 72. And we watched the football game with the Redskins again, and somebody else was wearing the number 72. Mm-hmm. I said, see, you were just the number at that time. His name was Dexter Mandel.
Yeah.
And I used to tease Dexter all the time. You're more than number 72. And then the last piece of this is I was so good, I could fool me.
John, I can't thank you enough for spending time here.
No, Rich. I like you a lot, but you're trying to tell me this is over?
Well,
you better not be bringing no more bums from Houston in here to talk like McClain or some old other guys.
Hey,
you better not bring anybody. You brought me here for 20 minutes.
You want to stick around for another segment, John? You got your senior phone blowing up like crazy.
Thank you. It is really nice.
Thank you. That's John at Coach John Lucas 1 on Twitter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.